store, which had been commandeered by 5 Army reservists who doled out freeze-dried goods to ragged shoppers. The reservists had taken it upon themselves to impose equal access to the food supply, partly out of goodness and partly out of the universal desperation for something to do. One day, the glass doors were locked. A handwritten sign said to go around the back. The soldiers were having a party. With their rifles still strapped on, they were handing out canned cocktail wieners, 1 per person, on candy-striped paper dessert plates that looked forlorn in their huge hands. Ted, the youngest, a boy from Kansas who had already lost his hair, was leaving for a job in the future. He was going to be an independent energy contractor. There was another sign, bigger and in the same writing, on the back wall. 2000, here we come. It was a rare, happy thing, the soldiers and the shoppers in misfit clothes, standing around and smiling at each other and nibbling on withered cocktail sausages. But just that morning, the phone had worked for 5 minutes and they got a call through to Frank's brothers, only to be told it had been weeks since the landlord changed the locks on Frank's apartment back in Buffalo. The landlord was sympathetic to Frank's predicament, but he could no longer endure the absence of rent. "But what about my stereo?" Frank had said. "What about my records? What about Grandpa's butcher knife?" His voice was small, then smaller, as he listed off everything that was now gone. Frank was usually the life of the party, but that afternoon behind the grocery store, he picked on a pinch-faced woman, muttering at her. "Why don't they just stop the pandemic then? If they can time travel, why don't they travel back in time to patient 0 and stop him from coughing on patient 1? "They tried." The woman spoke with her mouth full. "The earliest attainable destination is date of June of 81. 7 months too late." "What? Why? How can that be?" This clumsy show of anger was new. Frank was normally charming. He was the one who did the talking. Later, his sudden social frailty would seem like a warning of the sickness that arrived next. It unsettled Polly, and she was slow to react. But the woman didn't need someone to intervene. "That's the limit of technology. It took until the end of 93 to perfect the machine, and 12 years is the farthest it can jump. Or to be precise, 4,198 days is the furthest it can jump. Do you live under a rock?" The tips of Frank's ears pinked, and Polly should have made a joke, offered comfort. But she was distracted. In that second, it stopped being a fiction. Time travel existed, and the plates of her reality were shifting. She felt a greasy dread in the center of her chest. She wanted to drop her food and take Frank's hand and anchor him in the crook of her arm, as if he were in danger of being blown away. Now they are pulling up to the lone bus stop, and they can see the new time travel facility, across the lot bisected by trolleys. The facility is a monolith, the widest, tallest building either of them has ever seen, and something primal in Polly quails. The only thing remaining of familiar airport protocol is the logistical thoughtlessness of the curb. Once you reach it, the line of unfeeling motorists waiting behind you means only seconds to say goodbye. "You don't have to go," Frank says. "Say something else. Say something different." Polly is smiling and shaking her head, an echo of some long-ago courting coyness that once existed between them. It has landed here, in the wrong place entirely, but she can't get control of her face. "You don't have to go," he says again in his faraway voice, unable to stop. Polly can only muster short words. "It's okay. We'll be together soon. Don't worry." The sole way Polly was able to convince Frank to let her go was through Ted, the reservist from Kansas. He and his buddies had a plan to meet in 2000. They had chosen a place and everything. "We can do the same," she said to Frank. "I'll ask for the shortest visa. I'll ask for a 5-year visa." It was a setback when she got to the Time Razor office and they offered minimum 12-year visas. But still he would meet her, on September 4th, 1993, at Houston Intercontinental Airport. "What if you're rerouted?" he asked. He had heard about this from another patient, who heard about it from a cousin, who knew someone who worked at the facility, who said they could change your year of destination while you were in mid-flight. Polly said reroutments were a rumor, a myth. Why would they send you to a time totally other than the one you signed for? That would be like buying a ticket to Hawaii and winding up in Alaska. But to calm him, she came up with a backup plan. If something went wrong and either of them couldn't make it, then the first Saturday in September, they'd go to the flagship hotel in Galveston until they find one another. "Not just the first,"